Hey everyone, it's Ellen. Welcome to my channel. So, do you have like paintings that you didn't like and things you tried a technique and you still have it sitting around? Please don't throw them out because you could use them, recycle them for many different things. You can use them for color swatching, for practicing brush strokes. And I know because you're using it on expensive paper like Arch that you don't like want to waste the paper, but sometimes you have to waste the paper to know the techniques, right? You can't really paint on kind of crappy paper. You don't really get the techniques if you do. So I always tell people, don't throw it out because you never know when you can use it again. And so for today's tutorial, you're going to use that scrap. We're going to make some fun, abstract, kind of semi-abstract Christmas cards. This is a super easy tutorial you could do with your kids, your grandkids, a whole bunch of people. A lot of fun. You just moving paint around with your brush strokes, splattering it, all that nonsense, and then cutting into a shape. A simple ornament shape, a simple triangle shape for a tree. And I would talk about all kinds of the shapes you can do. And it's very therapeutic. I mean, everyone's stressed out right now. The holidays make people crazy, and I know I'm stressed. I've had a lot of work to do, and just so much going on that I'm like, I don't know if I could think of another tutorial for my wonderful subscribers of like some fabulous things. So I thought we'd just have fun painting together, painting some stripes and dots or whatever, and then cut it out into shapes. I mean, I love it. There's so many different things you could do with this. So if you have any questions, if you like doing this, do you save your scraps? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials, and a live stream on the top tier once a month. It's just a place people go and support my channel. You also get first dibs on workshops and retreats before other people. So if you want to do that, you can see the little blurb and check this out. So, and also please don't forget to subscribe. And hit that bell notification button to know my tutorial is up. So without further ado, let's paint some fun cards. All right, so let's go over supplies. Just grab your scraps that you made. I was playing around with different techniques on this one and teaching something this one and whatever this one is. So these are scraps of Arch paper, and I can just, rip them, tear them. By the way, everyone always asks, how do you get this teared edges? You just basically take your paper, see, push down, look at it, it's already teared. And it's the old-fashioned back and forth, and rip it, and there's your teared edge. Isn't that fabulous? So this is a tutorial on just taking your scraps. So I have the scraps here. I did some sunflowers on this one, and then of course you would need a piece of cardstock in any color you want. It could be green, red, blue, black, you name it, you've got it, cardstock. And we're just going to paint some, abstract kind of painting, and then go on top and then cut it out into shapes. You can cut it out into a tree, you can cut it out into a stocking, whatever that, you think of for Christmassy. You can make a bird. I can show you a really cute bird. So yeah, we're just going to take and have little teeny scraps here. There's so many things you can do with your leftover paper that you like. That's why I say don't throw away your stuff. Recycle, use everything you have, Obviously this is the good side of the paper, and that's not such a great side of the paper. And you just play around with it. So now I'm just going to play around with color here. I have my paper towel, my paints here, and just play with your paints. This is something you can do when you can play with your paints. I'll have gold paint close by, gouache close by if I want to do some splattering. Gouache also, that separation, You can play around with liquid inks. I have the liquidtex acrylic inks. It's kind of like gouache. When you hit the watercolor, it kind of does this really cool separation thing. You can use salt. Play around with masking. This is where you play with the masking fluid, do some funky things and then paint over it, and see what happens. This is where you play. Play is the key component to watercolor, getting used to the watercolor, all that stuff. And brushes, you can do brush strokes and play with that. I'm just going to play with color here. I'm going to do some blue. I have this Prussian blue. It doesn't matter what colors you're playing with. This is cobalt blue. I didn't even actually clean my brush, so it doesn't matter at this point. You can play around with the blues. I have the peacock there, little paynes gray. Let's just see what we can do. Maybe make something, if it's green, because I have a green cardstock here. Maybe I would make a funky tree. Maybe I would make a funky present. I don't know. I'll play around with that. I could add some yellow because you have yellow here. So on this one, let's just play around with some green. I'm just throwing the green over my yellow little mess, right? And then Prussian blue. You know, all this kind of like, who cares? You're just taking this. By the way, I have a number 12 round Neptune brush. Does it really matter? No. Because we're just going to play. Just grabbing some cobalt in here. The actual thing of the gouache, when you splatter it to make it have that kind of, you know, technique, works best on dark colors. So I have an indigo color here. Let's get some dark in here. Play around with this. Like I said, you're just taking your brush and moving it around. I just love to do abstracts because it's freeing. If you're having a tough day and you just don't want to paint a structured kind of element and all that's nonsense, this is what you should do. You should just play with your paints. Go in and have fun. Take, you know, colored pencils, markers, pens, all this stuff. See? There's a Prussian blue in there. This is really taking me 0 time. And I'm keeping it in the cool colors, by the way. So the cool colors are blues, greens, you know, purples, all that nonsense. So the yellow turned into a green, right? So we just went right over that yellow flower. You didn't even know it was there. It's existing. And I'm adding some cobalt. It's really kind of fun. Now I can take some gouache, or I could use the liquid ink, right? Just shake this up. Get this ready. And you'll see when you splatter it in these sections, it doesn't want to come up. I do my videos in real time. So if you see me screwing up, you know why. Okay, you can take that brush, or kind of a crappy brush. I would grab a crappier brush. I'm just going to take an old crappy brush and splatter it. Look at that. You could kind of have snow. Bigger dots, little dots. If you're a splatter lover, this is a great project for you. Look at that. And then you just let it dry and see where it goes, right? Look what I did to my other nice brush. I'm gonna have to clean that. It got out of control. I never get it on my clothes. Somebody asked if you get it on your clothes, get it all over the place. Actually, no, I never do. I only get it on the surface area that's around. Maybe, I don't know, if you're splatting like crazy to get it on your clothes. So we paint this little guy, put it aside. So that was just throwing paint around. Let's get a little more conscious now of what we're gonna paint, right? Maybe it could be shapes, strokes, all that nonsense. So I had this one intended for the green card. Maybe I'll change it a little bit. The red card, let's play with some more like red and green kind of colors. So I've got magenta, and I mix yellow with that, and it makes a nice red. Keep doing back and forth, and you get a nice red. So now you can play, I have a number 12. You can just play with just pushing down strokes. Look at that, twisting it. Let's do something a little funkier. Stripes, intention. And we have the blue dot there. I know it's kind of insane. I'm gonna grab my number 12 Princeton Aqua Elite now. What I love about this brush, this is my new brush. Nice point, big belly. So the 12 Neptune is great, but it's a little floppy. There's a little more structure. So I was looking for something a little more structure, you know, that holds better. Mixing up more color. Look at that blue dot. It's kind of funky there. It's just sitting there. I'm just going to play with whatever I have. Doing some stripes. And see what happens. I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's why I like to do real-time videos with you guys. And you can see how I play crazily in my own mind. Now, I'm thinking to myself, the blue dot didn't work with this one. So I'm going to remove the blue dot paper. So I might save this for something else one time. I'm going to go back and grab that crazy sunflower that I still had. Because I'm thinking the red is not going to actually work with this blue dot. You're going to constantly see that blue dot. See what you have with this. Let me see what I did with this one. This will work with the orange and the yellow. Now we're going to start to do something more with warm colors. And it's looking a little too orangey. It's great about, see how you can make really skinny lines with this brush, and then you can push down and make fat ones. So this Aqua series is really great. I'm going to actually try some other brushes. I'm going to actually purchase some more. This one was gifted to me from Princeton, but I'm going to look into some more sizes and other things that they have in this series. I always like to try new brushes. Actually, I'm going to find a quill brush that I like too. So I'm just playing with the brush strokes, compound strokes, which are just taking the brush, holding it on an angle, and pushing down and pulling up, and see what happens. And maybe I'll get it a little pinker. I'm going to add some pink, more magenta into my color. See what happens. Sometimes you don't have to have an intention when you're painting things that are very, abstract. You're just kind of going for it. Maybe the top, I'm going to grab some more yellow colors. Now, it's just kind of pretty pinkish. We want to keep it Christmassy, so I'm going to go back and add my yellow with my blues here. This is kind of very watery. The consistency of this paint is definitely almost tea like water. Going back in and fixing this, getting more pigment in here, less water. Let's see, let's add some green. Let me get more yellow and some peacock blue. A nice bright, almost like a Kelly green. Now, of course, when red hits green, if it's still wet, it can turn into brown because they're complementary colors. I'm going to go back over that yellow flower. Let's see what we got here. Still kind of looks non-Christmassy. We're gonna fix this. Get this green in here. Just going stripe within a stripe. Getting a little darker, that green. So you can have different levels, of hues of the dark green, light green. Kind of like a little stripe, almost like a candy cane stripe. I never know what's going to happen when you do something like this, and that's the joy of it. It's just playing. Now these ones weren't dry, so the bleed is kind of crazy, but that's all right. If you want to wait till it dries and go back over it, it's kind of glazing and you'll see the colors come out. When it's not dry and it's going in there, you're seeing kind of the blend of the two colors. That's also exciting. This is all about play. I'm going to add more Prussian blue and get that green even darker, darker, darker. It's not looking so pretty candy cane-ish, right? Looking a little funky, which I like. And now I'm going to make my red even deeper. Let's get some more magenta in here, a little bit of yellow. Add a little bit of this burnt umber. Get a little cranberry kind of color. I'm deepening up my red here. Or you can use a nice alizarin crimson, but I'm trying to make it darker red. And I'll go back over some of these stripes. See a stripe within a stripe. That's kind of cool. You can do stripes and dots and see what happens when I bleed some of this paint, this darker red. Yeah, not so bad. And you know what else would be great with that? Gold paint. So I'm going to take my gold paint. You can use gold acrylic, gold watercolor, gold gouache. My gold watercolor is very, very dry. We're going to have to just manipulate this a little bit. Yes, activate it. Spray it with a little spray bottle to help activate it. And then I might use a smaller brush for this. I might grab my Princeton 8 round. Sorry, I'm making lots of noise. I'm going to activate this. With the gold watercolor, you try not to grab too much water on it. You want it thick, kind of like a gouache, because then you really see the actual metallic color. You know, they have pan paints. I have pan paints like this. And same thing, you have to kind of like put a lot of water and kind of activate, make it a little thicker. So you could use the tube paints or a pan paint. I have a link to a pan paint in the description box. I'll just grab some of that also. And you can kind of just play around with adding the gold. Look at that. It just adds another dimension to this, you know, it just changes it up. I like the gold metallic. Excuse me. I'm just putting in stripes. This is not something that's inventing something, you know, really difficult. This is supposed to be therapeutic and easy. Everyone's stressed out, been shopping or decorating or just going mad. I think people put so much pressure on the holidays, and you know, you just stop it. I stopped doing that pressure thing. I used to send out cards all the time. I actually stopped doing cards. I'm going to do cards again this year, but it was getting too much. I was doing cards, I was doing parties back in the old days, and I had to just stop. You know, stop and smell the roses. Now that my kids are older, it's so much less pressure. God, I feel sorry for the parents who have the elf on the shelf. That's a lot to deal with. I remember it so well. So now we have this beautiful stripes. Still not quite Christmassy to me. I think because the red got really kind of pink. So it dries later. So you might have to go another pass with that red. You know, it might need another pass. This kind of paper, this is the arch paper. It soaks it up. So you'll notice, see, now that looks more Christmassy. I'm really loving this red. It soaks it up because it's cotton. You know, if you think about t-shirts or shirts that are cotton, how they get wet. And there's an old saying in sailing that cotton kills, because if you're out in a sailboat or a boat, you don't want to be wearing cotton, because cotton will not dry fast like a nylon or something like that, and it can cause you to have hypothermia and kill you. So I know I'm rambling on about cotton, but yes, cotton does soak up a lot of moisture, right? So if you didn't know that about sailing, now you do. Okay, see, look at that. It's getting there. And then you can just keep playing with some other lines when this dries. They're thick and thin. The green is a little lost in here. It's coming alive, but it's not supposed to be like this perfect thing. So this is kind of, it's almost dry. The blue gets dry. We're going to do some fun stuff with that. While this is kind of drying, you know, you can go back when it's completely dry and you add the gold stripes or gold patterns, you know. I'll show you when this is dry. I want to finish up just putting in some more red, and we're going to come back and we'll talk about more patterns on these two different, you know, abstracts, and then put them on a card. Okay, so once it's kind of dry, you can go back in again with your gold and make some nice pretty little skinny lines. See, I'm adding a whole bunch of little lines right in here. Take a small brush, you can go right into the red, make some really skinny lines even with the green. This is where you're just playing, and you can do little dashes, little dots. See, make little dashes, little dots. All the fun stuff. I could do little dots up here in the green with the gold paint. Just go to town. Actually helps if the paint area you're going to paint with the gold is a little darker, but no big deal if it's not. Right? So you're going to go through all these areas. This is a little too light green. I'm going to go back in and make it a little bit darker. See, some of my green kind of just dried out like the red did. So you might want to go back in and tweak these just a little bit. So you've got that Christmassy kind of green happening. Mine was kind of funky. But there's no right or wrong to this kind of particular, you know, card, because it's just playing with the color, putting the paintbrush down, moving the paintbrush. You can grab some metallic pens or white pens. I have gold pens and white pens. Grab this white pen. Also make little lines. You could write words. You know, all that fun stuff. Black ones. Doesn't have to be gold. Doesn't have to be green. You know, whatever works for you. I'm going to go back over some of my greens that kind of look meh. You know, they weren't looking pretty. I'll just fix them up. So then with the other one, I'm going to let this one dry a little bit longer. I'm going to go back in here. Tweaking it. It's kind of messy, and I don't care. It's going to look cute. Just kind of funky stripe. For this one, so now we have more whites, and it's kind of like a galaxy, right? You can take a white pen. I just had that white pen. Do some snowflakes. I'm gonna get this on my sleeve. So I have like a white pen here. That'll be a lot easier than painting it. Do some nice snowflakes right over those little circles that you splattered. See, I'm just doing crisscrosses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks kind of cool, right? You could actually paint a little square manger down here if you wanted to do something like that. Of course, you would want the 1 star. But here we're just playing with, we're always splattered, and we're just adding in fun snowflakes. Now I have that abstract card that I did a while back. That was a lot of fun. So this is just another thing you can do again with the scraps. This time, that card we just painted the card and did all the stuff. This time we're going to cut the card, cut the shapes and use them. So I'm thinking I might make this into an ornament shape. My white isn't coming out super white. See, real time. The pen is not cooperating. On some of it is, some parts it is, some parts it's not. So just go ahead and play with this. You don't have to do snowflakes. You don't have to do anything I did, but just play with your paint. You can write words in here. So, you know, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take like this is just tape roll, put it here, just to get my circle, and just plop it around. I'm not going to even be conscious of where the circle was, and then cut it out. So we'll see. It might be a little too greeny, so maybe I want the circle kind of closer on the blue side. Let's do that. And let's see if that circle's going to be small. It'll be fine. So just flip it around, and I'll cut it. I know we painted all that, and now we're going to cut it up. Of course! Kind of like a collage. Take my scissors. That's the whole, we're having fun here. So then we have like a simple ornament. We could put it on the green, we can put it on the red, we can put it on a blue card. I don't know if I like it on the red. Maybe I do like it on the red. I don't know. What do you think? Or do I like it on the green card? It's kind of cosmic on the green. I was thinking that this looked better on the green, and this looks better on this one. You know, maybe we didn't like the yellow. But for sake, we'll just put that down. Now you can glue it, and then just take a pencil, like coming down here, right? So I'm just for the sake of like time, I'll just take a glue stick and put this right around here, glue it. And you know what? We want to make a cap. So I don't want the cap to be painted because it's going to be too thick. Let's put this back here. There we go. So I'm going to cut a piece of paper out. I'm going to paint it gold, like a scrap. Here we have these little scraps, right? I have tons of little scraps. Think about the little cap. And you want to like cut little jagged edge in the bottom. I'm just going to grab a little scrap. Take my gold paint, whatever gold paint you have, if you have any gold paint, and just paint that. And when that dries, we'll cut it out and we'll make a little cap. See, I'm just making a little gold area. In the meantime, we'll take the gold paint as well And we'll put the little gold line going here. If you want to take some gold paint and just tap in here too, get some metallic kind of happening in your little ornament, do that as well. So that's what I'm going to do with that one. For the red one, oh, I'm going to wait till this gold one dries and I'm going to come back and cut that. Or I'll just do that now. I'm feeling kind of spastic today, but I'm sorry. So just picture yourself, you know, cutting out like a little, almost like a square shape or a little slightly rectangular shape, right? Here's the square shape, rectangular shape. You can just keep it like that. I'm going to be a little more creative and do some zigzags on the bottom, because you know those ornaments have these little zigzags. You're just going to cut out little zigzags here. And maybe have it a little rounded on the top. Like round those corners. Maybe that looks a lot better. And then just glue that. See? Glue that down and that looks like precious. La, 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 la. So this is kind of a collage watercolor. Oops. Isn't that sweet? So you can cut circles, triangles, squares. You got, oh, that's maybe a little goofy. I'll have to go up here a little bit more. And then I would do, if you wanted to do like a little ribbon or something up here, like, you know, it's up to you. Take your marker or a pen. I might grab. It's just hanging. If you wanted to do like a little bow, you can do that too. It looks a little more sophisticated. Or just keep it just the one line. My little paint is not getting painted there. And you can kind of tweak this little square. My fingers kind of wiped off some of the paint. Just going to tweak it. Also, on the actual ornament, take your white wash or paint if you ever have it. Do like a little shiny halo. Yay. Do like a couple right there, right here, and it looks like a rounded ornament. And that's sweet, and you can write joy or whatever you want on the bottom. Merry Christmas. So that was the ornament one. And this one, I'm deciding whether to do a present or a tree. And I think I might just, you know, just again, let's keep it simple. A tree could be kind of cool. Let's see. Just make a simple triangle shape. Why not? And I might just draw a little bottom to it. So just a simple triangle. And then do like a little square on the bottom. Now, how big do you want the tree? You want to have some room for writing on the bottom. And then we're just going to cut out our crazy paper. And we turn it around and see what happens. We might hate it, we might like it, we might not know until we try. A crazy tree. Oh, I like that. Yes. Don't have to be all green to do trees. It could be colors, you know. I don't know if people think about that. Then, of course, we'll glue it down. I mean, this glue is not really great for it. I'm just giving an example. You can use a glue gun, you know, other things to just glue it down. And if you want to paint a gold star and have a, you know, again, with the paper. So it's kind of a collage, you know, or paint it. But I think paper collage. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to paint some paint. Gold paint. I'm going to do a gold star. Okay. Just take your paint. Just paint a little swatch of gold in the scrap you have. Let it dry and we'll cut it out for a star. And you could also do little ornaments too, or paint them. I've drawn so many stars in my day that I just flip it over and just go like this. However you can draw a star. I think everyone can draw a star. And then you just cut it out with your scissors. This is something you can do with kids, grandkids, where, you know, if you want a project, something to do at Christmas time. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a tree or an ornament. It could be a present, which is a simple square or rectangle. Or you could do a stocking shape. And again, you have your star, metallic paint, so you just glue it on the end with a glue gun or something that you have. Just glue right here. It's a fun little collage. And then you can add like little gold ornaments with your watercolor or your gouache or your metallic paint. See? Just little gold balls all around your little tree. That's a little watery. You want it kind of thick so you really see the metallic. It's kind of watery, but you get the idea. And by the way, you could splatter just like you did the other one, and that would look really cool. And then you could write Merry Christmas or Joy, or whatever you want to write in the bottom. You can use a metallic pen, a white pen. See, my white pen is not working. Merry Christmas. See, and you can see that you can't see it. It doesn't want you to see it, but you get the idea. Now I've made kind of a mess on my desk, and that's what you should be doing too. Make a mess, have fun, create some fun watercolor cards, just playing with the color, splattering the paint, moving it around when you're frustrated that you're not painting something, some masterpiece. You know, this is what it's all about. It's about creativity. It's not about, you know, being perfect and perfection. Those days will come. And these are for the days when you experiment with color and paint and just all that fun stuff. I mean, do this and cut out bird shapes. Do this and cut out holly leaves. You know, all that kind of fun stuff. So I hope this was enjoyable for you. I hope you had some fun. I want you to have fun. That's what it's all about. You know, don't stress out about making cards in the holiday. And like, this is what I'm saying. You can take all your scraps, a whole big sheet of paper, and just paint just stripes and simple stuff and cut it all out into different shapes. You could have had the same pattern and did a stocking, a present, and a tree. Even a star would look really cool. So I hope you get some ideas from this, and I hope you have some fun. And thank you guys for stopping by. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't hit that bell notification button, please do so you know when my tutorials are up. And thank you again. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.